What is going on, everybody? My name is Chris, and this is my Cybertruck that I have affectionately named Rusty. And I have owned Rusty for a couple of weeks now, and we have over 3,000 miles on this amazing Cybertruck. And in this video, basically what I want to do, it's going to be a little bit of a long one, but I want to go through this whole Cybertruck, front to back, outside to inside, and just go over everything I've experienced so far, all the little details and things I've figured out, what I like about it. I'll also go through, as we go through this, I'll tell you what I dislike or things I think Tesla should have done differently, which there are a lot of them. But overall, to kind of give you the overview in case you don't want to watch this whole video, I have no idea how long it's going to be. The Cybertruck is amazing. We love it. My whole family loves it. It's better than I thought it was going to be, which is a surprise because I've been hyped for it for a long time. My wife also really enjoys it. I'm going to have her do her own full video talking about it at some point. She doesn't like the attention it draws, but other than that, she really enjoys everything about it. So let's go outside to inside and just walk around the Cybertruck and check it out. If there's anything I miss or any questions you have, of course, leave those down below. But let's just jump right into this Cybertruck. This video is brought to you by Joa, my choice for premium Tesla and vehicle accessories. Claim your exclusive discount with the link in the description below. So let's just start right at the front with the Frunk and the exterior here. So you can see it's pretty dirty. I'm driving it on dirt roads and everything. I did go through a car wash the other day, but I find that water does splash up onto the Frunk and the hood when you like hit a puddle. And I think part of that is because your front wheels are just so close to the front of the car and you have this aggressive dip, which is nice for driving, but that does happen. Now, if I look on here, there is already, you can see little swirl marks and I wouldn't call them scratches exactly, but they're definitely like swirl marks all over the place. I'm pretty sure it was like that immediately at delivery. Something I expected, something I do not care about. I don't buy my vehicles to be pretty, as you can probably tell, and that doesn't bother me at all. But it's something that's there, and I think all Cybertrucks are probably going to have this. So if you don't like that, either this is not the vehicle for you, or you can wrap it, which I think is actually a really cool option. The more I see the wraps, I think it's a great option for people that don't like the stainless steel look but want other things on the Cybertruck. I think that's actually a really smart thing to do, but a little expensive. There is a little like scratch, or not a scratch, like a little indent in here somewhere. It looks like a rock chip you'd get in paint, but now I can't find it. So that's definitely already happened, and that was like really quickly after we took delivery. I'll try to find it, and I'll put a picture or a video or something if I can find it, but right now I can't find it. So there was definitely a little tiny chunk of metal that was taken out, which I found really interesting. I would assume it wasn't a rock. I don't know how it happened, but it's there somewhere. Light bar is just awesome. It does get covered in bugs, which is kind of annoying. You can see a couple bugs there. I have kind of been keeping the front clean because bugs are gross. And then I just got to clarify, yes, dirty Tesla. My Teslas are always dirty, but the message is not that your car always has to be dirty. It's that you use it as a tool. And a tool can get cleaned in a car wash. Just don't spend your whole life keeping it in the garage, not using it to keep it clean. Use it, get it dirty, run it through a car wash, get the gross bugs off there because they're nasty. So I do clean those off. I find Windex does work the best, as others have said. So it's super easy to clean and do all that. Now getting into the Frunk, there's a button here, and here's one of the first complaints you're going to get from me. So you can't even see the button, can you? Yeah, look how low. You can't see it. So the button is right here. And what I wish Tesla would have done is made something here different, because as you walk up to the car and you reach to feel the button, all of this is 100% the same. They could have put a raised bump or a little groove or made the button lower down to indicate this is where the button is. So if you're doing this, you'll never find it. You have to go up, and even right here, you can barely get to the button. You really got to reach up in there. And, of course you get used to it. But even though I've been driving this for weeks now and I have so much time, so many miles in the truck, I still sometimes don't find that button right away, and it's kind of annoying. So here's the Frunk. It is extremely useful. It looks small. It is small compared to like the F-150 Lightning. I love the F-150 Lightning Frunk. Another complaint here, give me an outlet. Why is there not at least one NEMA 520 in here? Definitely should have been in the Frunk, but it's not, unfortunately. Other than that, extremely useful. Plenty of space. I think a normal grocery shopping trip would fit in here. So you could back into a space. You don't have to put it in the bed and then have it rolling around all over the place. You can put your groceries right here. Maybe if you have a huge Costco run, we don't really go to Costco, so we don't do that, but that probably wouldn't fit here. And then you got the bed. Of course, you have lots of storage back there, but this is super useful. You can see there's lots of sand in here. When we were going to the beach, we were putting all our stuff in here. And as we were road tripping, we put all of our hotel stuff in the Frunk. And then we put all the stuff we didn't need in the bed. So we'd pull up to a hotel. I could go in the Frunk, grab everything, walk into the hotel. It made it super easy. Great storage, and I love that it's powered. And then you can close it either with this button, which I find the easiest, or that button. It is a slight delay, so when you click this, you have time to avoid getting eaten. But another thing that I've noticed is they're changing this all the time. So these plastic bits were not here before in other ones, and I'm not sure if this plastic bit was here in videos I was seeing either. So there are things that are changing and being added over time, of course, and I would expect it to continue to change. You have some rubber up here to keep the water out and all of this. Now this would probably still hurt. I wouldn't want to get my hand caught in it, but that's pretty much any closing part of a vehicle. And that reminds me, we did have the kids eat some lunch in here. They were sitting here, they loved it. That was great. And then of course, a couple comments, uh-oh, don't let them touch the button. Don't let them, whatever. Yeah, vehicles are dangerous. You know, you can get hurt doing things. I don't know, like I try to avoid, you know, danger and injury as much as possible, but I'm also not going to be wrapped in a blanket my whole life doing nothing. Sitting here is awesome. It's very comfortable. It's a good height, and you can of course adjust the height. So yeah, that's the Frunk. It's great. There's not that much, but it's still so useful, and there's so much to talk about with it. So hit this button, wait for the delay, and then it starts to close. So you get that little warning beep, it closes, and it will stop if you know, get in the way of it. I guess I should show you, or else you won't believe me. So we'll hit this button here, and I'll just stick my foot in. This will probably hurt. Oh, actually not too bad. So that was actually pretty sensitive, and popped right back up and opened all the way. So that was good. Now let's look at the headlights. Maybe I should leave the front open because it's actually hard to see the headlights with the front closed. Yeah, let me open it one more time. They work really well. I'm actually surprised the amount of people that I point out the headlights, because some people think it's the light bar. These are the headlights right here. And so many times, immediately, people go, whoa, are they bright enough? That's a weird question. I think they more mean they're so down low, do they actually work? And yep, they work great. I've driven at night with them. No issues at all. I do have a concern of snow getting caught up on this shelf area, and it's, you know, exacerbated because this is a shelf sitting flat right in front of this, and it is kind of covered by the frunk. So you have a little like embedded area here where stuff can get caught. I've actually already read somebody who was driving in a snowstorm. They were pulling over every few miles to wipe their headlights off. Now, newer cars, you do got to keep the headlights clean of snow. On my Model Y, when it was parked, if it snowed, I always had to clean the headlights off to get the snow off before I left. And they were normal, you know, shaped headlights. But still a concern of mine, but we probably won't see that till next year. I did do a whole quick snow video. I have no idea. I have so many videos to edit when any of these are coming out. There is one little Easter egg on the headlights. I think I saw a Gregor trucker talk about this, but everyone says there's no Tesla anywhere on the truck. Blam, right there. So when you're driving down the road, people can see it says Tesla right there. There's the proof. But I cut there. But yeah, I don't know when anything's coming out, so it might be kind of a weird order, but whatever. So here is some of the, you know, panel gaps, I guess you would call that. I think this is totally normal. Both sides are about the same. Now, here's a problem I had. I don't think I even posted about this yet, but I will. This piece here, so this is one piece that goes all the way to the back there. There is a bolt right here and then clips all the way up it. And there's a bolt and then a nut that holds this on. And while we drove all the way to Florida, no issues at all. And then this became loose and was like completely loose. And we went on the highway and this thing came out, and I'll put the picture up. This thing was like flapping in the wind. I wish I would have taken a video, but we were just trying to find an exit to get off the highway. And this thing was flapping all around, and it actually got bent, which you can barely tell. Like even in real life, I can barely tell. I think it's right about here. I think right about there is where the bend is. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not. Tesla service is going to replace this whole part, but that was bad. It was a cosmetic thing overall, and it was so funny because, you know, everyone's already taking pictures of you. So then you got this thing flapping in the wind. It was so stupid looking. I was able to get a nut from Walmart, and I fixed it myself. But obviously, Tesla's going to replace this whole piece. You can see that it still is not that great. You can kind of see the nut in there. If you go to the other side, this lines up perfectly. This has had no issue. So once they fix it, it'll be fine. But just so you know, that was one problem I had. Surprise, I had to finish this on another day, and this is all fixed. So you can see what this looks like now. I mean, that is just about perfect right there. And this little thing, they lined up a little bit. They said there's not a whole lot of give here. This going up and down. I think I talked about this when I recorded before, but this was sticking up a little bit. You can see it still is, but it was worse before. So they brought it down a little bit, but they said there's only so much they can do about that, so that's unfortunate. And then I got this part fixed with this scratch back here. It was like 65 bucks. I couldn't believe that it was so low. I feel like most repair places would be gouging you for that kind of stuff, but as I've heard, Tesla parts are really cheap, and it's nice that they, you know, I'm sure it's not that hard to pop that off and put it back on, so it's nice that they did that as well. And then the other problem I had is we came out to the car one time and it was like dead. It was off. Nothing was working. I did a scroll wheel reset and everything was fine. Those are the only two issues, which having a couple of Model X's already and other Teslas, you know, they can, you know, have some weird issues and stuff. And this has not had that. So going to the side here, the camera really exacerbates this, but you can see the panels look a little differently colored in different areas, like especially the back of the door here. Oh my gosh, on the camera it looks crazy. In person you can definitely see it, but like you wouldn't notice it if you're just kind of glancing at it. I took it through a car wash and I think some of the soaps or whatever they used made this a little bit. And I did wipe this side off with a little bit of Windex just playing around, but this was way worse before, and then doing a quick clean with Windex made it look better. But honestly, I think this is kind of what Bayer Cybertrucks are going to look like, is they're just going to change differently over time, especially depending on how people treat them. Again, I don't really care that much, but if you do, you either don't want this or you want to wrap it or something. So that's something you may see over time. We'll see how it evolves. Maybe I'll try to do an actual like good cleaning and see if I can make it look more uniform again. But for now, you know, I don't care that much. The sail is cool, but if you can see, tons of like swirl marks of, I think these go through some machining when they're done, some polishing, and you just see like, I assume this is just the machine was, you know, whirling away at this. They're also sideways. I don't know if this is for when they detailed it before they gave it to me. I have no idea, but those will all be there. Tires are really good. Everybody says they're huge. They are in person pretty intimidating. They're really big. I've seen some truck people be like, oh, they're not that big. But then I've talked to other truck people who have big trucks and they're like, whoa, those things are beefy. So tires are really nice. Ride comfort is awesome. We'll talk about driving later. I guess let's stick with the exterior. Here's the back. So one slightly disappointing thing, you know, you have this super tough truck with the stainless steel and whatever, but it's surrounded in plastic bumpers and stuff. And I already really gouged the heck out of this. Like, this is looking worse every time I look at it. I don't know what is happening here, but you have this super tough truck. And if you, you know, do the truck stuff with it, this stuff's going to get scratched. Again, I don't care. I don't think this is a big deal. I just asked because I was curious and it's so new. It was like, yeah, let me, you know, fix this. But I plan to actually use this thing and keep it for a long time. So over time, any vehicle with plastic on it, which is pretty much all of them, is going to have stuff like this. It's not that big of a deal. This is not, you know, a Lamborghini or some kind of show car or something. I love it and it's amazing, but it's going to get bumped up and stuff over time. And again, that's why I love the no paint. I just love it. And no wrap. Wraps are going to get damaged too. I don't want that. That's why I want the stainless steel. So there's the back. I recently did wipe that off with Windex too, just playing around with stuff. And in my opinion, that looks really good. There are some uneven things on it, but overall it looks nice. So let's look at the bed. Tonneau cover is so useful. Oh my goodness, the whole bed, it's a truck. Okay, another thing I meant to say in the beginning of the video, not everything that I like about the Cybertruck is going to be like unique to it. I'm going over the whole Cybertruck, what I like, my experiences. It doesn't mean no other vehicle has ever had this, blah, 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 because I get a lot of comments where I'll say something I like about the Cybertruck. They're like, oh, my car has that too. And it's like, well, cool, I'm glad your car has that. I'm talking about my Cybertruck and the things that it has or it doesn't have that I like or dislike. So using the buttons here, you can do a soft press. And then when you let go, it'll open as much as you want, or you can do a hard press. And of course, it'll open all the way. You can also hard press again to stop it wherever it is. This, again, on the road trip was so useful we had things right here that we maybe wanted as we were traveling. So you go to the back, you don't have to drop the tailgate. You can just do a light press on this button for a second, grab whatever you need, click this and walk away and you're done. Now, the truck does seem very smart. Of course, this is all locked when you're not by it. But the truck seems very smart. Like if it's all locked up, you haven't touched the doors or anything, you walk back here and you have your phone key, it knows you're here. It can sense your Bluetooth connection from right here. So all of these things will work even when the truck is locked. But if you're nowhere near the truck and it's locked, obviously these buttons will not work. None of these buttons, it won't open. Here is for attachments if you want. And what's nice is they fold over like that. So if you want to add something, you can have it, you know, for whatever amount of time. And then once you take it off, you can just close this again. And so that's really nice. Aero cover, I've heard, I haven't tested it, but maybe I should, adds about 10% range when it's closed. I will have it closed 99% of the time. The first thing people are asking me, like, are you going to do towing? Can you haul stuff? I don't really tow, but I will make some videos about towing just for, to make the videos. I do want to use the bed for stuff. And what do I need? I need some gravel for my driveway. So I probably don't need a lot, but I'm planning on getting like 1 ton of gravel and just dumping it in there, seeing how it drives, the efficiency, all that. And if I get the range extender, then you couldn't get that much gravel. We'll see. But I don't know. I probably won't get the range extender. I think it's too expensive, but I really want it. And I guess since I mentioned it, I will say that's another negative for me. This thing should have had 405 miles of range. Yes, I know at reveal it was 500 miles and $70,000, et cetera, et cetera. With the market today, and the way everything is today, I do believe this should have had 405 miles of EPA rated range. The good news, when it's not, below about 40 degrees Fahrenheit so far, I'm getting about the estimated range. A little less on the highway, but not much. I'm getting like 90 to 95% of the claimed range when I'm doing mixed highway driving. When I do off-highway driving, I am sometimes exceeding the rated range. I had a drive that was about an hour long actually I was on the highway for a minute with top speeds of 75 miles an hour. I think the average speed was around 48 miles an hour. And my extrapolated range from that hour drive or 45-minute drive or whatever it was 330 miles. That's with these all-terrain tires, which I want to get rid of, and I want to get some street tires, but I don't want to pay all that money when I have perfectly good tires. So I'll do it eventually. I cannot wait to see the range, comfort, and noise on this thing when I switch those out for some more comfy tires, because I don't really need these, but Foundation Series, what are you going to do? Going over here, the windshield wiper, since we're outside, I'll talk about it, works great. We had heavy rain the other day, and it works awesome. It is very squeaky when it's dry. I think that's normal for windshield wipers. Other people saw it squeak and were like, what is wrong with this piece of junk? I don't know. I don't think that's a big deal at all. I think it's perfectly normal. Another thing on the exterior I will point out is this is not lined up. I talked with Test Bros, and they were saying that this is super easy to adjust. There's a nut, just like I showed on the other side. I didn't show it, but I talked about. And you can just loosen this, you can push it down and tighten it. So there's windshield washer fluid all the way back here. That's insane. So I'm going to ask Tesla to adjust that because that looks dumb and is so easy to fix. Like, come on. Other than that though, man, Fitment, everything is so good. Like everything just lines up nicely. The doors are nice. There's zero rattles. Oh my goodness. It's so nice. It's so well put together. You feel like you're driving a one solid piece brick down the highway. It's so just put together. It's kind of the best way I can describe it. Getting into the car, you probably know. Well, let's talk about the cameras. You got the cameras here, and then 2 in the front and the 1 rear camera. The rear camera doesn't have a washer. Well, there are 3 in the front actually, which is really stupid. The front camera does have a washer, which seems to work really well. But this is more what I want to talk about. These get so dirty, like immediately on the dirt roads, along with, these get a little dirty, but not too bad. But those and the rear camera get covered in dirt almost immediately. Hardware 3, for me, never had that problem with the repeaters. The repeaters were always clean, like 99% of the time. Every once in a while, I would go like this on my Hardware 3 repeaters, wipe them off. Hardware 4 repeaters, which we have on this Model Y, and these Hardware 4 repeaters get dirty so fast. It's a little concerning for me, to be honest, but what are you going to do? Also want to talk about the lighting in the bed. So if we open this up, this is, obviously you don't need it during the day, but it's set to auto, and you can adjust the brightness of that. I've shown that in videos before. It is super cool. I've found though, leaving it on auto works really extremely well. So I have no need to adjust it, but you can do that. And then when all that's open, you can see out of the back. The rear view mirror is obviously tiny. It doesn't work that well, but I found it works better than I assumed. You can see more out of that rear view mirror when this is down than I thought you'd be able to. It's still mostly useless, and the camera actually works really well once you adjust to it, but we'll talk about that later. So there's 2 last exterior things I want to talk about that I haven't seen many people talk about. So on other Teslas, there is a physical unlock. So when you go to plug in and unplug, you click here, and you can hear that noise. There's a little locking mechanism that moves down. So that just went down, so I couldn't plug back in. You heard it go back up, and then it locks this charger in place, so I can't just randomly pull it out. All Teslas have a physical way to access that, and normally it's in the trunk. Well, obviously you don't have a trunk in a Cybertruck, but it is somewhere around here. I think if you peel this back, which I don't really want to do, it's in the owner's manual. You can move this piece of plastic, and then there is a physical like string you can pull on. It's like actually a nice little strap. You can pull on that, and it's a manual unlock in case this breaks or is frozen or who knows what. I've never used it, but I don't know. It's interesting and it's good to use. I guess since we're back here, we got to talk about the outlets as well, which I can't open with my gloves. Let's look at the outlets here. These are awesome. NEMA 1450 easily can charge an EV off that. If somebody's stranded, just like 15 minutes on that thing will give you a few miles, which if you're out of battery, you're probably on your way to a charger. So that's awesome. These are NEMA 520s. Even charging off this with an EV, it's slow, but it's not as slow as an NEMA 515. It's actually a decently significant bump. And I love to see these outlets. They will definitely get used by me. Of course, you have sub-trunk right here, which I have my charger in there, and then a couple, those are from the bolts, the nuts that I bought to fix that trim piece. This is in case I get a flat tire, but I'll probably take that out of there. I don't really need that. These little dividers came with Foundation Series. You can take them out if you want. More room back here, but I'll just leave them in there. They're really nice for organizing. Sub-trunk is awesome. Another just, man, there's just so much practicality and storage in this thing. I mean, it's a pickup. There should be, and there definitely is. It's awesome. Right here, emergency release. If somebody traps you in the frunk, or sorry, in the bed, you can pick this up. Oh, that's hard to pick up. Man, hopefully they didn't beat the crap out of you first before they threw you in there. And then you can take these out and you can pull, and this is a physical drop for the bed, for the tailgate. And then of course you have some tie downs here. This is your bottle opener that came with the Foundation Series. This is $25 though, so it's like, yeah, pay all that extra money for Foundation. We'll throw in this $25 bottle opener. And then a couple of tie downs here, which also were Foundation Series. I would guess those are 25 as well, but I haven't looked. And then you have this whole track system back here, which as of now, there's not a whole lot of accessories. Tesla has I think it's called a mole panel, where it's like a grid that you can put up there. And then there's a whole universe of items that will attach to that, which is very cool. It's not something I need right now, but I'm very excited for what attachments are going to be coming to this track system in the future. Lots of interesting stuff is going to be coming to that. I would love to hook up my Starlink on this thing and just be out there, but I usually keep mine on the roof, so not really going to happen for me. Also, if you need to jump the Cybertruck, on other Teslas, there's a little circle in the front bumper. In Cybertruck, it's right here. You like pull this thing down. Again, I don't really want to take it out. It's in the manual if you want to check it out. But there's a little plastic thing here that you can pull down and jump it to open the frunk, or if your low voltage system is dead, you can power it through that and get things running again. I really want to get in the truck, but there's one last thing out here I'll talk about and complain about. It is the wheel covers. Now, it didn't come with them because they got recalled, because it goes all the way up to here, and there was some rubber that was rubbing against this and actually like compromising the tire. Now, cool, whatever, it got recalled, mistakes happen, but you know, they were testing these things for a while, and it just makes me think, like, if they missed that and then it came out so soon after they started deliveries, like, it just makes me think, like, okay, what else is going to be found on here? And I don't normally think this way, but it just made me think, what else am I going to find on here, or other people, as we're using these things in the real world, that Tesla just was like, whoops. And you know, maybe they're not something as simple as a wheel cover that Tesla can simply redesign and send you the new one later. It just made me think. That's all. All right, let's hop in. We'll start with the back. I'm sure you've seen this. You push the button, the door comes out just a little bit. You cannot close it until you reopen it to kind of protect your fingers. But if you do this, you can now close it and squish your fingers. So you still got to be careful. I am careful with these doors around my kids. My 4-year-old daughter, she can definitely open it by herself, but you never know. You know, she puts her hands in here. She grabs with both hands and pulls. You never know if she trips or is on a hill and it's harder than normal or something. Her fingers get caught in there. But guess what? That's any car door. Now, these car doors are very heavy, but again, I think a lot of truck car doors are probably heavy because they're bigger. I wouldn't want my kids' fingers or my fingers caught in any car door ever, but I am very careful with these doors, just so you know. It does open 90 degrees, which I love and has been very helpful for us. This is an example of something that's not Cybertruck specific, but it's on the Cybertruck and I love it. And makes getting the car seat in and out super easy. This is the easiest Tesla by far to put car seats in. I guess I'll talk about this for a bit. The anchors are back right behind the headrest, and I can show you the one in the middle here. There's that plastic cover. You would move that to do the anchor latch thing. Hold on, I need to turn the air off. Obviously this right here is a booster seat, but the latch system down here is incredibly easy to access. Although it's not that easy to see, it's still slightly hidden for, you know, aesthetics if you want that. But man, family stuff in here is awesome. Leg room, when you have car seats, like so for the front passengers, when you have this car seat behind you, it is slightly more than Model X. I haven't done any measurements. Maybe I should, but just based off of our huge road trip and driving in here, there is definitely more interior space legroom wise in this Cybertruck compared to our Model Y. Did I say Model X before? I meant Model Y. But with that said, I do believe that this setup right here, there is slightly more legroom for the front passenger than the Model X. I'm willing to be proven wrong if somebody measures it. I don't have a Model X with me, but just based off feeling again, I feel like we are not pushed as forward in the Cybertruck as we were in the Model X. That's just what it feels like. So in the back seats here, plenty of room. You can of course lift this up. So let me move this out of here. Once I get my bag out of the way, there's a little latch here. You can pull, and now that is loosened. Of course, normally you do this with two hands. And let me get all my stuff out of the way, and then you can just put this up. The car seat's kind of in the way, but you can still do it, and maybe you heard that lock into place. So now this isn't coming down until you pull on this again, and then, oh my goodness, look at all this storage. It is just so awesome and practical. I love it. So we'll leave that up for now, and we can hop in here. Here's your rear screen. If I touch that, turn that on, you can control all your climate and everything from here. This is very similar to other Tesla vehicles. It's super nice to be able to control your heated seats. We're going to do a whole software section later, but I probably won't come back here. You can control your heated seats, media sources. This is like Netflix and stuff, and then settings. Now what I noticed is there's no games here yet. So the games are in the front, but you can't play the games in the back. You can do Bluetooth devices, and the kids did use this to watch Netflix, and they watched the Mario movie on this thing probably 5 times, but I'm still going to give you a complaint. The screen has been great. I really enjoy it, but this truck is very expensive, and you know what, Tesla? It's better than nothing, but in my opinion, you should have 2 screens and they should be in the backs of the seats. We're paying a lot for this truck. This probably costs almost nothing, this screen. Implementing this, there's some cost, don't get me wrong, but for what we're paying, I just really believe we could have had 2 of these, 1 in each seat, so each rear occupant could have their own thing. Also, it prevents small kids from kicking this all the time, because my daughter figured out, even with her shoes on, I don't know how that works, but with her shoes on, she can control the climate. So she's back here kicking this thing, and to be fair, it's held up so far, and it's tough enough. But she's changing the air vents and everything just like with her foot. So that's kind of annoying. And then of course, if you're sitting back here, you're going to be looking down, and it's going to hurt your neck after a while. My kids enjoyed it. They had no complaints. I swore they would not want to use it because they had to look down, but they watched the Mario movie on here like 5 times and they liked it. With that said, it seems to be working well, but I'm going to be picky because I paid so much for this truck. You should have 1 in each seat. That would be a such better system. That's just my opinion on that. So if you want to put this back down, we just grab here and it falls. You do have to push it to lock it into place. Again, you'd probably have 2 hands, and there you go. So that's the seat. This middle headrest thing does come down. Let's see, a car seat might be in the way, and I need 2 hands, so hold on. Yep, so you have to pull on that little latch so it will not come down randomly. So that's nice. And then you got 2 cup holders and a little armrest. Actually, a big armrest, I would say. This is almost like a small table. If somebody was back here with a laptop or something, they could do that. This is adjustable, this headrest if you want, but it's nice to have that. There's no pass-through to the bed. I know a lot of people wanted that. I would have loved that as well if even this window came down or anything, but this is what we get with Cybertruck. And then to put it back, you can just stick it up there, and then it's mostly locked into place. It's kind of weird that it moves that much without pulling on that strap down there, but that's what it does. The other thing that I'll point out about the rear seats that I really like is it's not just a flat bench. It is slightly bucketed. I don't know if I'm using the right term there, but you can see these seats are separated like this with this cushion here in the middle. So if you do have multiple people sitting, they will have some separation, and it does make it much more comfortable. Now, while sitting in the back, you do get a really nice view out of the top here. It looks good. Headroom looks and feels good. Turn that around for you here. Have tons of space. Even if I lean all the way back, obviously it slopes back, but I have a ton of room. I'm 5'9", to give you some context. I forgot the child locks are on, so now I'm locked in here. I can just reach up there and turn them off. But yeah, so you get your button for opening the door. You get 1 window switch here, so nothing too special there. You get a nice little square light. I mean, even the lights in here, hopefully you can see it okay, don't have any roundness to them. and then your coat hanger, which luckily this is also angular, which I think all the Teslas actually like that already, so they didn't have to change much for that. But this is the same kind of style as S and X and 3 and Y. And then for those that are curious, you get your latch system back there. Super easy. Easiest by far of any Tesla to put car seats in. Back there, and then these latch in really easily. I always have trouble in our Model Y. I don't know why that happens, but getting that latch in the Y is always hard. In the Cybertruck, it was super simple, and the 90-degree doors in the back also help with that. Now, you get some ports back here. Hopefully you can see if I put this down here. You get... All right, so you do get some ports. If you look down here, I'm using a flashlight. You get your NEMA 520, which is great. It comes with this cheap little piece of plastic inside of it, though, to like keep it covered. I wish it was attached because a lot of the time I won't be using this, so I'd like to keep the cover on just to keep dirt and stuff out. But yeah, I have it somewhere. We're not going to find it. And then you get 2 USB-C ports, which is great. But here's what's not great. Can you see this huge, right here, shelf that's basically blocking those ports? So when you want to use that, holy moly, is it annoying to try to get down here and find these ports because you cannot see what you're doing. And so this, in my opinion, was a big miss by Tesla. They should have put at least the USB-C ports right here so that you could easily see what you were doing. As of now, trying to get stuff plugged in here, especially when I have a kid in this seat and a kid in this seat and I'm standing outside the car trying to get stuff plugged in, is super annoying. It's really aggravating. You can't see down there unless you're like crawling on the floor. So yeah, that's a big annoyance. Those definitely should be moved. They work once you get stuff plugged in, whatever. But just that's kind of my final complaint about the back seat. Looking at the door itself, you can see we have our window control here. These windows do go all the way down, which I have the child lock on right now, but here, hold on. So you'll see when the doors open, they go like that, but when you close the door, it does go all the way down. So there's no window left. When you open the door, Tesla does pop it open a little bit to, I don't know, keep it from rattling or something, but for whatever reason. This is your door open button. And then there should be, yeah, right there, there's your mechanical release. Wow, you can see like light. You can see all the way through the car there. Right under this little mat here. So you do have the mechanical release, which is very easy to access. All right, let's hop in the driver's seat. So the car does, if you want, via options, lower all the way to an entry mode to make it easier to get in and out of. I'm going back and forth. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. I'm just playing around. I don't want to put unnecessary stress on the air suspension by having it do that all the time. But at the same time, I bought the truck. I want to use all the features. So, and I'm not that tall. So I'm going back and forth. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not. When you open this up, I found because of this kind of dramatic angle here, I'm already used to it, but when I first was getting in and out of the car, I bumped my head a few times on this, like this part, not the metal part, but right here, and that was annoying. But, you know, that's like just a different vehicle thing. I'm already not doing that anymore. The door pockets are really nice. Did I show the door pockets in the back? Let me do that really quick. They're also really nice. You got tons of room down here. There is a light. You can't really see because it's daytime. But yeah, you can put a drink bottle right there. And then there's lots of storage right here too. And the light, if I go, oh, there is no light back here. I swear there was. Oh yeah, there is. It's right here. So there is a light. It's just you can't see it because it's daytime, but there you go. So you do have a light there. Big speaker. Going to the front door here, ambient lighting strip, which we won't see because it's daytime. The back has that too. You have, of course, all window switches, which are auto up and down for all of them. So if I want to put the passenger one down, I can just click, and then you'll see without touching it anymore, it is going all the way down, and it'll go all the way up with one pull. That's for all the switches, even the back ones. This is to get in and out. This is your emergency release, which yes, already in the Cybertruck, people are pulling this. I'm getting alarms that the truck's saying don't do that. Whatever, it hasn't damaged anything. If anything, I think the glass is gonna get obliterated against that stainless steel, but hopefully we don't find out. Door pockets are awesome. This little shelf is very intriguing to me for some reason. I haven't really used it, but there's something about it. I love this. I don't know why. It makes me think of like some kind of table or something. I don't know what it is, but there's something about that I really like, even though I haven't used it yet. Great for a huge water bottle. More storage over here. And then, of course, there's a light, which should be the same as the back. Yeah, right there. So you have a light right there to light it all up. It looks great at night. Before we actually hop in, here's your seat adjustments. Normal for all Teslas. You do have lumbar, and the passenger seat has this as well. So passenger lumbar is present in the Cybertruck. Hopefully they don't get rid of it. I've been using it constantly, so Tesla sees that usage data. The seats are on risers, which is kind of whatever. I feel like it's kind of weird, but I mean, it works and doesn't actually matter, but it looks cool. And then there's some space under there. Let's see if I can get the camera in there for you. If you want to store stuff, I'm sure some accessories will be coming for under there. And then here's the floor. These floor mats came with Foundation Series. I have not taken them out yet, but there's the carpet. Pedals, it's a brake pedal. This, now, I got a bunch of comments like, oh, it's a German style, whatever. I've never had a car with that, and I don't know if it's Cybertruck specific or just this pedal design. It is harder to push that pedal than the normal American style, whatever you would call it. Now, I'm not saying it's hard in a bad way, it's just different. And when I hop back into the Model Y, it is so, I'm trying to think of how to describe it, like light and airy when I'm pushing the Model Y pedal, whereas this, takes like force. It's like the truck is heavy, so this pedal is heavy. It's hard to describe, but it is harder to push this pedal. Now, I'm totally used to it. I'm not like able to not move it or something, but it's just a different feeling than the pedal in the Model Y or 3 or whatever, or X or S. So let's hop in and take a look at other, physical features. I need to open this window. I'm gonna get hot in here before we dive into the software. So this is where you charge your phones. It's also where you put your key card to start the car. These cup holders are great. So they have this rubber here to hold drinks, but this rubber is totally flexible. So if you have a bigger drink, it'll just squish it out of the way. I have literally not had anything that didn't fit here yet. Even like a normal coffee cup, I squished in there and it was held tight. I wouldn't leave coffee in it, but it did fit. This is all open. It was really nice for the road trip. We just had a couple bags here, snacks, all that. On the daily, for me personally, I wish there was more storage here like what we get in Model S and X. I hope some cool accessories come here for storage or something. I just keep a lot of filling equipment in the car with me at all times, so maybe that's just individual. It does make it feel really open and roomy in here, but to me, this is mostly useless space. I think if a woman's driving the truck, she's gonna love it for her purse, or a guy with a man bag, it's European, he would like that too. But for me, it's pretty useless. Seats are both heated and cooled, ventilated, which is so nice. I use the ventilated. I either have my seats heated or ventilated. There's really no in between for me. It's just such a nice feature in every capacity. The feeling, they're very comfortable, but they're a little harder. So if you've been in like a Model S or X, they're that more stiff feeling, which I think is part of the cool, because also the new Model 3, similar style. It's like a little harder. Whereas if you sit in the old Model 3 or in a Model Y, it's the cushy feeling. To be honest, I prefer the Model Y cushy feeling over this overall. This is not bad at all, and the trade-off of having it cooled and ventilated is worth it for me. I would pick this if I could pick either, but just pure comfort, I do feel like the fluffy Model Y seats are just slightly more comfortable than this. The glove box for me is really nice. It's really like a drawer, but in the software they call it a box. They should change this to glove drawer. But if you click this, it's powered. So it'll slide out like that. It's got plenty of room for whatever you need. I have my J1772 adapter. I'm never going to use that. I should take it out. But the Cybertruck safety information and whatever. And then you can touch this and it will close again. That's so cool. Maybe not that big of a deal, but it's freaking awesome. I wonder if we spam this, if we'll get a message that we're using it too much, like Tesla does with their other stuff. Well, at least for my purposes, I would say you have pretty much unlimited use of this, like the tonneau cover, which will give you a message that it can, you used it too much and it won't work. So pretty interesting. And then in here is a pretty good amount of storage. Now you do get this storage tray. Again, this is Foundation Series. They give you a storage tray, which normally I think you have to pay about $45 for this separately. That stuff, I hate that stuff. It's just so cheap. You buy this expensive vehicle, even if you're not buying Foundation Series, and they want you to pay extra for this. Oh, that's cool. It's got a nice Cybertruck logo, but come on, just throw it in there. And then tons of storage down here as well. And there is one USB-C port over here, along with another NEMA 520. Again, here's the little plastic cover that they give you to kind of block that. I wish it was attached by, a little piece of plastic or something so I could just shove it back in there when I'm not using it, but it is what it is. So that's what blocks it when you're not using it. So yeah, lots of storage here. And this bin's really nice. I like it. I just think it should be part of the truck. Visibility and everything, we can talk about that and talk about driving is just awesome. Well, maybe I'll just do a separate driving video, but visibility is great. It's very deceptive though, because you have this huge thing. It's just ridiculous. This dashboard is insane. And all you can see is the same as what you see on the camera, up to here. You cannot see the nose or the hood at all. Even if I touch my head to the ceiling, can't see the nose. And it's really weird when you're parking. So when I'm parking, if I don't use the cameras, I park so far away from everything because I feel like I'm about to hit it and I'm nowhere near it. Luckily, you can bring up the front camera on here. And I have been using this to park like crazy, and it helps so much because I will pull up and I'm like, yeah, that's probably good. And then I check the camera and I'm like 5 feet away. So I'm sure I'll get used to that over time. But as of now, I park really far away from everything. You can wash the front camera. It works really well. It uses a ton of washer fluid. I noticed it leaves a couple drops when you're not moving, but when you're driving, those blow away. So no big deal there. And you can switch between the front and the rear camera just like that. We'll go into software in a minute, but the front camera has been extremely useful. They should have this on all the cars, and I think that's their plan. Let's talk about the steering wheel, the Squircle. This is actually, I think, called the Squircle in the manual. I think they call it that, but it's like a rectangle. It is really nice. So, of course, it's the steer-by-wire stuff, so you can't go too far. It won't let me turn it because I'm plugged in. All right, so I unplugged. Foot on the brake, and now I can turn it. So, I didn't show you the four-wheel steering. Does it show it on the screen? Oh, look at that. That's sick. So it does show the four-wheel steering on the screen. That's great. So you can only turn this far. And it took maybe 1 minute to get used to that. It is very easy to drive. This is probably one of the easiest vehicles you will ever maneuver because of the four-wheel steering and the steer-by-wire. So when you're at these low speeds, like 0 or 5 miles an hour, this moves a ton. But when you're on the highway, it moves only a little bit doing this. It took almost no getting used to. I've had several people who have never even driven Teslas drive this already, and they said the steering was weird, but they never actually had an issue with it. So it's really nice. It does have auto switch out of park, so when you step on the brake, I have a pin for right now, just because I'm letting so many people like get in the truck and try it out, and you never know. But when you have your seatbelt fastened, it says right there you have to fasten your seatbelt first, it will auto shift out of park. I'm not worried about it. And I've found it is like 100% accurate versus our Model X that had the same feature was maybe like 80% accurate. So I don't know if Model X is better these days or not, but the auto shift out of park is fantastic. It works so well. So focusing back on the steering wheel, you have your indicators over here. They are clicky. And man, I don't know what it is, but this click feels great. I never had a problem with the capacitive buttons on the Model X, but I do prefer this. Now that I've experienced this, I do like these clicky buttons a lot better. For your headlights, you can click to kind of flash your brights, or you can hold them to turn on your brights or your auto brights. So my auto brights are on right now. Obviously, they're not actually on, but they're ready to turn on in case it gets dark. And if I click it, it'll turn them back off and also flash my brights. This little indicator here is to show you your scroll wheel goes up and down and left and right. I think, honestly, that's, for me, a tiny bit confusing. Well, it's not for me, but I feel like if somebody sits here, they're going to be like, what does this mean? Like, it's not very clear that this is related to the scroll wheel because it doesn't look like a wheel, but that's what it means. Then, of course, left turn signal brings up your blind spot. Right turn signal brings up the other blind spot. And holy moly, because I have to use the rear camera and I don't have the normal rear view mirror, these I use so much more than I ever did in my Model Y. My Model Y had this feature turned on, but I barely used it. In the Cybertruck, because I already look here before I get ready to turn for the rear view mirror, I now am pretty much already ready to look at this when it pops up. So I'm using this combined with the rear view mirror, and man, visibility is fantastic. Now, A-pillars, since I'm talking about visibility, they definitely get in the way in certain situations, no doubt about that. But A-pillars in a lot of modern cars are pretty big. And even in my Model Y, I was always kind of moving around and bobbing and weaving my head to kind of get around that A-pillar so I could see. So these are more obstructive, but they have a nice window there, and they haven't, I haven't been in a situation where I'm like, well, I can't move the car because I can't see because of the A-pillar, but it's something you got to look around for sure. Other side of the steering wheel, this is a newish button. The new Model 3 has this as well. You click here and it will bring up your cameras, and it is pretty adaptive to either, if you're in drive, it'll bring up this situation with the front camera, or if you're in reverse, your cameras are probably already up, but if they're not for some reason, it'll bring up your back camera. I do use this sometimes when I'm driving. When I go to park, I'll park and I'm like, oh, am I up close enough? Click, and then I check here and I go, oh no, I'm not, I need to move up more. So this is really nice. It will also bring up, so you can get rid of the rear view camera on here, which I find strange that you have that option, but you can get rid of that camera view. And once you do, you can click this to bring it back up. I always have it up. I never turn it off. But yeah, if you do turn it off, you can bring it back. I've also found, since I mentioned it, with the rear view camera on here, Cybertruck, as you notice, is on dark mode, which most Teslas have daytime and nighttime, and it switches automatically. Cybertruck, you could do the same thing, but the daytime feels weird. Like it's weird to have all white on the screen. But on top of that, the rear view camera is not easy to use when the screen is white. I don't know why. But the rear view camera looks so much worse when the screen is white than when the screen is black. So I will always 100% have the screen black. Except maybe if I film FSD videos on here, I might keep it white because it's better for the visuals. But this symbol here is to show you that, again, this scroll wheel, like, why is it so far? It's like shoved in the corner over here. It should be like right here, like touching. But this symbol shows you that this is your speed control. And then once we get autopilot, you can click here. Right now, if you click this, it puts tack on, and then left and right will change your follow distance. That's what it does now, but that'll go away later. Windshield wiper, if you click that, like I said, it's pretty squeaky when it's dry. I think that's normal, but I've heard other people be like, oh my God, that's the worst thing ever. You do have auto, so if I click this, you can see auto is an option down. Can you see that? Yeah. Auto is an option down here, or you can have it off. I have had a few phantom wipes, I guess I will say. That sounds awful. During the day, where it will wipe on auto when it's not raining, but only a couple. And when it was raining, auto worked absolutely perfectly. It was so good. If you hold this, it'll clean the windshield, but it gets the blue stuff everywhere, so I'd rather not do it right now. But yeah, it works. I mean, it works as you'd expect. The only weird thing is when the windshield is, the wiper is on, so this is going to be loud, but if I put it on here, you'll see it stays down there. Now, at first I thought this was a bug because I would click this and it would just sit down there and never come back up. And I'm like, what is going on? I don't have the windshield wipers on, and I still think it was kind of a bug. But as the windshield wipers are on, it will stay down there to keep water from rising up the windshield, because you have one continuous slope of your windshield and the hood is all one slope. As you're driving, wind pushes the water up the windshield. So the windshield wiper staying down there prevents that. It does work, but it's kind of goofy, and I wish it wasn't a thing that needed to be done. But I guess it's just the shape of the vehicle. It's really not that big of a deal. And then here is your voice commands, which is pretty much the same as any Tesla. I use it for navigation and pretty much nothing else. It seems to work for a lot of things, but for me, I just am not used to it yet. But I do want to try something. Enable Mars mode. Marshmallow. Command not understood. So it doesn't even know. Open the toy box. Command not understood. What the heck? It's right here. So yeah, some commands aren't working there. Now I do want to enable Mars mode for the video so I'm not showing my map. But here's the problem with Mars mode on the Cybertruck. It's cool, but for me it's kind of annoying because if I turn that on, it turns all of this red. And I don't want to show you this weird red UI because that's not normally what it looks like. I guess over there. Oh, all right, I'll leave it. But you can see, if I pull this over, we're on Mars. Now, this is another interesting, unique feature of the Cybertruck versus other Teslas. I guess let's move into the software here. So the screen, this is 18 or 18 and a half inches. It is amazing. And hopping into the Model Y feels weird. The screen feels so tiny. It's not bad, but I want this screen in the Model Y as well. It's so nice. Going over the software here. So you can see we have the truck up. This is, in the parked position. And in the top right, I'm going to try not to have my hands there to mess up the focus. In the top right, you can see Mars. And if I didn't have that on, you'd see the map. And you can have this view while you're driving. It's really cool. And what this view is basically your FSD visual while you're driving. Now, we don't have FSD on here yet. We will eventually. But when you are driving, you can expand this full screen, this 18.5-inch screen will be FSD, and you'll have a little mini map in the top right there that you'll still be able to see with FSD, which is awesome. I assume they will bring that to other Teslas when they update to version 12. So if we're going to go into the software, let's start with the software tab here. And we can see that the software, so some people get confused by this, but right there, software is version 12. So that's the base software of the vehicle. It's not FSD beta. FSD beta is also version 12, but it's a different software thing. So yeah, version 12 for the software. That's what we're looking at here. It's 2024.8.7. I assume once version 12 comes to other Teslas, a lot of these features that I'm showing you here will show up there too, but there's no way to know for sure. You can see this is Foundation Series. I have 3,200 miles. Oh man, it's just so hard to know if it's focusing correctly. Somebody's pulling up. Hold on a second.
That's gotta be the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah?
That's gotta be the coolest.
You like it?
I love it. When did you get it?
Just a couple weeks ago.
That's nice. I've been hearing that they've been rolling out, so.
But I know you're always in a hurry, but if you have 2 seconds, you want to run around and check it out, I don't mind. Throw that put it down, it's fine. We're right there, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Thanks so much.
All right, Amazon dude was loving the Cybertruck. It's so funny. All right, where are we gonna go here? Let's go through this software. I don't know what I was talking about. Bluetooth menu, so like this is different. In other Teslas, you don't have this in the settings, you have it elsewhere, like in the media. Upgrades, so no upgrades available because it's Foundation Series, so of course I have everything, I don't have a choice. You also have a Wi-Fi tab there, which is new. In other Teslas, you click here and all you have is a little drop-down menu. Now you have a whole page for Wi-Fi there, so that's good. I guess the other thing, if we go into, you'll probably want to see additional vehicle information. So there's all that. So third-party NACS enabled. Air suspension is adaptive, audio system premium, autopilot computer, full self-driving computer, heat pump, garage door opener not installed. Come on, Tesla, what the heck? That should have definitely been installed. We got AMD Ryzen, so nothing new there. Low voltage is, of course, the new lithium ion. We only go up to 4G. There's no 5G in any Teslas yet. Induction, front motor, permanent magnet, rear motor, and tow capability is available, whatever available means. I mean, I have to put a hitch. It doesn't have one, which I thought was weird because I think the Model X comes with a tow hitch, but this doesn't, so that's kind of strange. If we go to the service menu, this could be its whole own video. You can see my tires are a little low because it's kind of cold, and I should fill them up. They're supposed to be 50. I just haven't done it yet. So all kinds of, this is pretty much the same as other Teslas. Jack mode. Jack and the Beanstalk? What is that? No, I'm just kidding. Safety menu is going to be, again, pretty much the same as other Teslas, so I don't want to go too deep into this when there's not that much new here, but I'll scroll so anyone that isn't familiar can see. These are the different options we have, but yeah, nothing really new here. Navigation, again, pretty much the same as other Teslas. Trips, so you can see kind of all my stats. We're at 461 watt-hours per mile average, which honestly, it's below EPA, or estimated, because I don't think they have EPA on this yet, but it's good. We've had winter. We've done a lot of highway driving. Most of these 3,000 miles are highway. So I feel like the average is pretty good. You can see my last drive was 488. It was below freezing and very windy, but I've also had some drives that are like 350. So not bad. Here's the display. You can, again, this is pretty much the same as other Teslas. I keep it on dark. I don't do auto here. The brightness of the display is set to auto, rear view, all of this. You can lock the rear display if you don't want your kids touching it, but my kids are now finally old enough that they can actually use it, so I will leave that unlocked. Here's everything else, pretty much the same. Headlights, again, pretty much the same. You could do parking, so that would have the light beam on. So like when I show this off, when I take it to the club meet, I'll probably keep the parking lights on because I want the light bar is just so cool looking. So that'd be nice. But the rest here is very similar. This is the bed lights, so they're off right now, but I can turn them on even though the bed is closed, and I can see through the window that they're on. So I can see them right now. I can set them to auto, and they'll probably turn back off. Let's see. They're still on, but I could do that. And now they're off, and put them back on auto, and then they won't change. But that's nice that you can adjust that even while driving. You can have that light on. Accent lights, so again, that's what's right here. You can change it to whatever color you like, and this color is linked to your profiles. All right, I'm out here late at night because I realized I got cut off doing the software section and I didn't finish it. So let's move over to locks here. So this should be the same as other Teslas. I'll just go through that so you can check it out in case there's anything you want to see. Autopilot, the most depressing software tab on Cybertruck. We have no autopilot yet. You can use traffic light and stop sign control, so the car can stop at traffic lights like red lights and stop signs, but honestly, they should just delete that feature. It's so bad. It doesn't work very well, so I would advise anyone to not use that. We do have traffic aware cruise control, which works beautifully and was great on the road trip. Here is everything else we have in here. So all of this is going to be the same as other Teslas. You do have lane departure avoidance and warnings, and I will get yelled at sometimes if I'm drifting out of the lane or something. Moving to outlets and mods. So this is where you can turn on your outlets or your accessories. Now, when you're plugged into AC power, you can't use your outlets. So because I'm plugged in at home here, I can't use them. If I unplug, then I can use them. You can also use them while fast charging at like a supercharger or something. It shows you the different outlets in the bed. You either have them all on or all off. You can't choose like to have one on and the other off or something like that. And then power feed, so that's for accessories like up here in the frunk, or like the light bar on the top. That's what this one on the right is for the roof. So you can have those powered or not. I don't have anything connected to those right now. And then at the bottom there, you can see enable cabin outlets on entry. So basically every time you get in the truck, if you want, those outlets can turn on. I don't use them that often, so I leave that off. But on the road trip, I had that on. It was very helpful. And then the tab below that, if you turn this on, you can then turn on the one below that, which is keep on cabin and bed outlets for 12 hours. and I'm realizing I can't turn it on because I'm plugged in. But I also use that on the road trip when we'd go to the hotel. If we were not plugged in at the hotel and didn't get a hotel charge, we would just leave the outlets on, and then it would keep our cooler that we had with us on and keep our food cold. Charging, nothing too special here. You do have the one-time limit, but that's coming in a software update to everybody, so this is your typical charging screen. Towing and hauling, obviously this is unique to Cybertruck. I have not used this yet. I'm going to make a full towing video one day, probably in a month or so from now. But yeah, that's what you get here. I've heard from people that do a lot of towing and have used Cybertruck. This right scroll wheel for trailer brakes is a really nice feature that people are liking. And then you can adapt your regen so that you'll get more regen when you're towing, and you can, capture some of that energy back. Your regen will be stronger, which is really nice. Dynamics, I love this tab. So this is where you can choose different things. Comfort will basically switch everything to chill acceleration. Ride handling will be relaxed, and your preferred ride height will be higher. And then if you go to sport, acceleration will be standard, ride and handling is focused, and preferred is lower. So I always keep it on custom. I always want to be on standard. My ride handling, I'm switching between relaxed and focused, but I haven't really found much of a difference between the two, so I keep switching between those. And then preferred ride height, when I'm on the dirt roads by my house, I do higher, and then as soon as I get to the pavement, I switch to lower. It's kind of annoying. I wish there was a way to automatically do that, but lower will give you the better efficiency, and then higher, of course, is better when you have bumpy terrain and stuff. So I do like the higher pro. I like each setting enough to switch all the time, using the different higher or lower settings, but that's, obviously personal preference. And then these other are the same. These other options at the bottom. Well, that's not true. So you have apply brakes for regen, same as other Teslas, auto shift out of park, same as other Teslas, and then auto lower. So you can have it enabled so that the suspension will go all the way down when you park to make it easier to get in and out, which I talked about earlier. And then here's your controls. This screen is really nice. I think for some people, like if you were new to Tesla, this might be a little overwhelming initially, but overall, the main things you need are here: folding your mirrors, Sentry mode, your child locks, screen brightness, all of that. Headlights are here. Your glove box is here. And then the ride height you can adjust. I can't because I'm plugged in right now, but you can open your tonneau, close your tonneau, open the bed, open the tailgate, open the bed, and change your ride height from here. So then my thoughts of owning this after thousands of miles and a few weeks or a month or what, by the time I get this out, whenever. I absolutely love the Cybertruck. I have been hyped for years, and so part of me was kind of like, well, as it was coming, like, calm down a little bit, because you've been just so excited for so many years that you don't want it to be a disappointment, blah, blah, blah. And there are some disappointing aspects. As I pointed out, also the range, I think I mentioned earlier, really this should have been 405 miles, like minimum. This expensive of a vehicle, Tesla's like biggest thing they've ever done, the most bold thing they've ever done. It's like, 300 miles of range. Like, ugh, it's just so underwhelming to hear that number. 405, even just for daily driving. I drive a lot. It would be a help. It would have made our road trip probably a bit faster. We would have had to charge just a little bit less. There's just so many aspects. I mean, with towing, then you could get, well over 100 miles towing. Whereas now some people towing at the max load are seeing barely 100 miles. With lighter loads, you'd probably get close to 200 miles, which is pretty respectable. If you have these giant, whatever, I don't need to get into that. But besides the couple of disappointments, I'm blown away. The thing feels like a brick driving down. I guess I didn't talk about driving. Let's talk about driving. Driving down the road, this thing feels like a solid chunk. Other Teslas, I've had all of them except Model S. They've all had at least some kind of little creak or rattle or something. My 2021 Model Y was pretty good, and this 2023 Model Y is also really good. I don't think there's really any rattles in it, but I can't explain it beyond this feels like one solid piece of chunk brick that's flying down the road. Whereas other cars, you can tell that they're multiple parts. That's not even necessarily a negative. It's just describing how it feels to drive this Cybertruck. It's really nice. It's so comfortable. It's so quiet. Road noise, wind noise, they exist, but they're good. Everything sounds good to me. It all sounds very like muted and far away. Whatever tones you're getting for the wind noise and road noise are all acceptable. Like you can have like tire noise or road noise that's super annoying, even if it's not very loud. And then you can have louder road noise that's not so bad because of, whatever frequency it's coming in at. This, I think everything is quiet. It's not dead silent. It's quiet and the tones are really nice. So everything feels really good when you're driving it around. So I'll probably make a whole video about this subject because it's very clickable, but is it worth the $100,000? God, so it's crazy for me to say that out loud. I never thought I'd have a $50,000 car in my driveway, let alone this. I would say probably not for almost anyone, especially if the non-foundation stuff comes to fruition, which I think it will, but if demand stays high enough. So if demand stays high, they're not gonna lower the price. Why would they do that? If people are still buying it at $100,000 or $120,000 for the beast, they're not gonna lower the price. They shouldn't, that would be stupid. If the non-foundation series comes out, say 2025, you're not only getting 20,000 off the price, you're also getting a Cybertruck that was built way later. So they've learned some of the bad things that they've been doing, and they fix things, and everything will be tighter. Maybe even the battery cells are gonna be better by then in a year. I mean, you just don't know. Tesla's constantly pushing innovation as fast as they can. So not only would you pay less if you get, actually, I don't think I had the tint either when I filmed the other part. So yeah, I got the tint on there. What am I saying? Not only are you getting $20,000 less, which is that's a whole car by itself, $20,000, you're getting a better Cybertruck, potentially. So I think for most people, it's not worth it. Why did I get it? Why did I spend the money? Well, number one, I have a sponsor, Joa, of course, helped out. And then Sexy Buttons, Enhance Auto, both of those teams are amazing, and you should check out their products because they're not only cool products, they're great people. So you should be happy to support them. I have that going for me, which is insane and awesome. I can make content about it. This is also like a business expense for me, the Cybertruck is. So I had a lot of things that, I could kind of make excuses to spend a stupid amount of money on this. If I didn't have all of those things, there's zero chance I would have paid full price for this. When Tesla tells you, they're literally telling people, you're paying a $20,000 markup for this, and we're gonna lower the price later. I don't know, to me, it seems kind of obvious, unless that amount of money is trivial to you, which there's some people out there that amount of money means nothing to them, and you really want it today, then yeah, obviously go for it, who cares? But if this is a purchase that, let's say you can definitely afford Cybertruck, you're not worried about the payment or anything, but you're like, should I wait for the price to drop? I still think it's reasonable. Just let it drop. Let the price drop. Get a potentially better Cybertruck for less money. That's just my opinion. If you're super hyped and excited, I'm happy with what I have here. I don't regret spending the money. I don't regret purchasing this. I don't regret driving it around. I do feel a little goofy still sometimes. Like in this thing, you still stick out like a sore thumb. There's a few more in Michigan now, I'm hearing, but I haven't seen them. And so that aspect, sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I had a third car so that when I'm just like commuting and not doing anything special, I could just like go in a little Model 3 and blend in and nobody looks at me. That'll all fade over time. And it obviously makes no sense to spend all that additional money when I have a really nice vehicle right here. But it's a thought I've had. So overall, absolutely in love with it. It's awesome. Can't wait to do, some more with it and make more videos. Please comment down below anything I didn't put in here that you were curious about. I tried to be thorough, but there's a lot of things, little things that people are curious about that they haven't seen yet. So let me know. I'll either respond in the comments or make a video or something for you. And yeah, it's a great vehicle. Cybertruck. It's the best thing I've ever bought.